How's it going, YouTube? I'm back in the video, and today I'm going to be talking about why the Houston Rockets will regret re-signing Eric Gordon. Now, if you do not know, Eric Gordon was just signed to a 4-year max deal by the Houston Rockets, which to me came as a pretty big surprise. Houston Rockets fans, I've kind of seen mixed opinions about it. They kind of liked it and kind of didn't like the signing, and I'm kind of on the fence that doesn't really like the signing, but I'm be getting into that later in this video, and basically I'm getting into like the reasons why I personally do not like the signing, why I think it's just not worth it, and that I think he did not deserve that signing in general. So yeah, but I'll be getting to all that in this video. So without further ado, without rambling on too much, just get right into this video. Alright, so my first reason for this video is going to be that he is already 30 years old. Now, what I mean by that is that it's risky to sign any good player, especially a superstar, any player like that, when they're past their 30s, especially to a long-term contract. That's kind of what the Philadelphia 76ers did with Al Horford this year. And with that being said, Al Horford is still a very good player, but he is in the twilight years of his career, so he's going to start regressing very soon. And in the back end of that contract, it could be a very bad contract for the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, I can see a very similar thing happening with Eric Gordon, as Eric Gordon is already 30 years old and will be 31 years old by the season actually starting. So with him now being 30, he will by far be regressing, will be 34 years old by the time this contract ends, and with it being a max contract, they will be paying him a ton of money. In those last 2 years of his contract, when he's 33 and 34 years old, he'll be getting paid $19.6 million and $20.9 million. Now, yes, that is if he stays healthy, but if he does stay healthy, they will be paying him a lot to a 33-year-old and a 34-year-old whose athleticism will pretty much be gone, his quickness will no longer be there, and he will be pretty much just a spot-up shooter off your bench, and that is way too much to be paying somebody that's not named Lou Williams off of your bench. So I personally do not like the contract, only because he is kind of old right now, and that, I mean, he is going to be regressing a hell of a lot when he does start getting into those like 32, 33, 34, when he really starts getting up there in ages. And I think eventually, by the time he does get to the last or second to last year of this contract, it will be known as one of the worst contracts in the NBA. And I don't even dislike Eric Gordon as a player. I actually really like him. As a Pelicans fan, I liked him when he was with the Pelicans, when he was healthy. So I mean, I don't even hate Eric Gordon or not like him or anything like that. I just personally think that this contract was not good, mainly because of his age. But another reason I don't like this contract is because he's already starting to regress. Now, I mean, most players do start regressing once they get to 30 or 31 or like ages like that. They do start to regress. Well, with just last year, his averages went down from 2017 to 18. As, I mean, his averages, he's averaging 2 less points per game, 1 less assist per game, 1 less rebounds per game, and 6% worse from the field goal. Now, that may have just been a down season for him, but I don't think that's what it is. I think he is regressing, as he has regressed over the past 3 seasons, at least statistically. Now, yes, he's been a very productive player when he was on the court for the Houston Rockets. I mean, 16 points per game is still quite a lot for a player to be averaging, but that is 2 points less than his 18 points per game he was averaging just a year before, and I cannot imagine that those stats go up, especially with the additions of Russell Westbrook. Now, obviously, those stats going down due to Russell Westbrook won't be really him regressing, but him having a lesser role, but that's just another reason that this contract is unnecessary. If he's going to have a lesser role, why even pay someone that's going to have that? Like, you don't need that as much as you did the year before. It just doesn't make that much sense to me. Now, yes, he was a very productive player, and I do kind of like him as a player, but personally, I don't really think this contract's worth it. As like I already said, he's already 30, he's going to be 34 by the time the contract ends, and he's already starting to regress in his play. But now my third reason for his video is going to be that injury problems do exist in this dude's career. Now, his career has been riddled with injuries, especially when he was with the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, yes, that can be due to a horrible Pelicans medical team that was there for a while, and I'll give him that. The medical team was not good at all. But he missed a ton and a lot of significant time with the Pelicans that, yes, when he played with them, he was a very good, very productive player, very good three-point shooter. Well, but with that being said, when you're not on the court, that's not very good because your best ability is availability. Now, I know that's kind of cheesy to say, but when you're not available on the court a lot, it's going to hurt him a lot. So yes, Eric Gordon really hasn't had injury problems since going with the Houston Rockets, but with the Houston Rockets, I mean, he's getting up in there in age, like I said earlier, and the older you get, and the higher up in age you get, the more likely injuries are going to start piling up. And especially if this contract starts really going bad, if he starts regressing in play, getting older, plus he starts getting injuries, this will by far be one of the worst contract moves in a while, because it's going to hurt them salary cap wise, because you know Westbrook's going to ask for a big contract when his is up. James Harden is being paid a huge contract, and I mean Eric Gordon will be on a max. That'll be 3 max players on your roster, and you won't be able to do much in free agency. You won't be able to trade Eric Gordon. I mean, it could potentially get you in cap hell if he gets any type of significant injury during this contract. But now my 4th reason for his video is going to be that he is not a max-worthy player. So even if he wasn't already getting up there in age, even if he wasn't starting to regress and he didn't have these injury problems, I still don't think he would be a max-worthy player. Now, I mean, he hasn't ever averaged over 20 points per game since 2011, and he's an average defender at best, and he's literally just a role player off the bench. And if your name is not Lou Williams, and Lou Williams isn't even getting paid that much for some reason, he took an absolute bargain of a contract, which makes no sense to me. Lou Williams should have got a bag when his contract was up, but he went for a pretty small one for how good of a player he is. But I mean, Eric Gordon, let's be honest here, is not as good as Lou Williams. I don't think so at all. And I don't think he's even the 2nd best player off of a bench, as I think Spencer Dinwiddie is ahead of him. At best, he might be the 3rd best bench player in the league, which doesn't mean he's that great of a player. But I mean, with him already regressing, so his bench points are going to go down, his bench roll is going to go down, his role is going to be reduced with the addition of Russell Westbrook onto the team. Now, I mean, he's just not a max-worthy player, especially with PJ Tucker's contract coming up, and PJ Tucker talking about how he wants a big contract. So now if they want to keep him, they're going to have to pay Tucker a lot of money, which I don't think they should. That's just another video for another day. But yeah, I mean, with him not ever averaging over 20 points per game since 2011, or really since he's really started getting injured, he's just a role player off your bench. Now, a very good role player, I'll give y'all that, but he's not that great of a role. I mean, he is a very good role player, but I'm not saying like Lou Williams is pretty much the only bench player that I think would deserve a max. And I do not think Eric Gordon, who's 30 years old, starting to regress, and is getting injured, deserves a max level contract. And I just don't think he's that great of a player to get that max level contract. But unfortunately, guys, that's going to be the first video, so comment below. Do you agree with me? Do you think the Houston Rockets will regret? Do you think they would regret re-signing Eric Gordon? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. If you do like the video, hit the like button and subscribe button. It would mean the absolute world to me. And I hope you have a blessed day. Get out a blessed day. So you need to have a blessed day. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah, blah, blah.